All right, so the Department of Defense is finally addressing the drone situation from New Jersey to New York, Delaware, all these places that are seeing drones all over the place, either scanning for something, looking for something, or doing some sort of routine flights. Still not sure what it is. I don't think that it has to do with detecting a nuclear warhead. I do think that they're doing something. I don't know what it is, though, and I'm not going to say definitively what I think it could possibly be. But the Department of Defense came out with a statement at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 17th of 2024. And the Pentagon Press Secretary, Air Force Major General Patrick Ryder, said in the statement that the Department of Defense is taking all reports of drones seriously and working with the White House, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Federal Aviation Administration to examine the sightings and assess the situation. It is a big job. Just to kind of put this into context, there are over 1 million drones registered in the United States, and on any day, approximately 8,500 drones are in flight, according to Major General Patrick Ryder. He also said that the vast majority of these drones are going to probably be recreational or hobbyist. They're going to be commercial drones used in things like architecture, engineering, farming, or they could be used for law enforcement. It is possible some of the drones could be up to malign activities, but for the vast majority, that is not the case. Drones flying near or over U.S. military installations is not something new. He said that we take all those reports seriously. He also said typically when we detect them, we attempt to classify them and take appropriate measures. Is it possible that some of those are surveillance? Absolutely. Can you make that assumption in every case? No, not necessarily so. Local installation commanders have the authorities to respond appropriately and will continue to do so. The Department of Defense is sending additional resources to Picatinny Arsenal and Naval Weapons Station Earl, both in New Jersey, to better enable the installations to detect, track, and monitor drone activity. Major General Patrick Ryder also said that commanders can use the recently released counter-unmanned system strategy to craft their responses to any incursions. The recent strategy looks at the priority installations and what the department needs to do to address the issue, particularly when the systems pose a threat to personnel or security. The thing is, I think we've all recognized the fact that unmanned systems are here to stay. They are part of modern warfare, whether it's here in the homeland or overseas. We want to make sure that what we're doing due diligence to protect our forces and protect our equities from a national security standpoint. You will see us continuing to look at that, and it's something we're going to continue to take seriously. The Department of Defense has also taken the situation in Syria seriously and is still concentrating on the defeat Daesh mission in the country. The overthrow of the Assad regime opened up areas where Daesh was sheltering and those that become targets. We all have a vested interest in ensuring that groups in the region capitalize on the situation there to enable the people of Syria to be able to have a better life than they did under the Assad regime, according to the Pentagon Press Secretary. Even with the confusion in Syria, the mission against ISIS continues, as evidenced by the counter-ISIS strike we took a couple of days ago. U.S. forces are able to conduct their mission, and as it has always been, force protection remains a top priority for our forces. Recently, a Department of Defense spokesperson, aside from Major General Patrick Ryder, has said that the mysterious drone flights are not being conducted by the Pentagon and are not part of any secret government tests. Now, to be fair, if they were, they wouldn't tell you, but they're also telling you that they're not, so it is what it is, right? I would say that if they're not telling you that they are, then you can assume that they are, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's true, just for your situational awareness. Additionally, after a briefing was held earlier today by the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Defense, and other agencies, they held this brief for the House Intelligence Committee about the drone situation. Members of the committee stated that they were assured that these drones are not involved in any nefarious ways and any nefarious activities, and most of the sightings appear to be a mix of commercial drones, hobbyist drones, and law enforcement drones, as well as manned fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, and stars that were mistakenly reported as drones. The House Foreign Affairs Committee Chair McCall is convinced that these things are Chinese spy drones. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Drone sightings. I did ask you, do you have any idea what line of questioning you all are going with? The public and lawmakers, obviously, we all have a lot of questions about what those are.
Yeah, we want answers. The response that I'm getting is that we don't know whose drones these are. I was with the NASA administrator, Bill Nelson. He said that these drones have been reported over military sites, military bases, I would not think those are friendly. I would think those are adversarial. In fact, NASA seems to be picking up more than our military is with respect to the drones. So I think Congress is gonna pursue this. I know the House Intelligence Committee is having a hearing on this. We need to identify who is behind these drones. My judgment, based on my experience, is that those that are over our military sites are adversarial and most likely are coming from the People's Republic of China.
Do you think you'll be satisfied with what you hear today?
Probably not. I think they're going to say they don't know. And that's a concern in and of itself, that if we have drones flying around military bases and we can't identify where they came from or who's responsible for them. I know there are a lot of commercial drones out there, and Secretary Mayorkas has talked about this. That's fine, but the ones flying over our military bases, by definition, I would say are adversarial. We need to know who is behind that because I believe they're spy drones. And the PRC, Chinese, Communist China, is very good at this stuff. And we know they bought land around military bases. This would be very consistent with their policy over the last couple of years.
Anything else you could tell me on the...
I don't know. You get into UFOs and all that. We're not getting answers, and I think it's because our government does not know who is behind them, and that in and of itself is very disturbing to me.
Big question. Thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you.
Could you help us understand some of the traffic down here? So we saw Sullivan walk out.
Yeah.
Is that from a separate meeting?
Yeah, it was about Afghanistan.
Got it.
Yeah.
So Sullivan has walked out of that. Are you going into the drone?
I'm not.
You're not?
No.
Can we ask you one more question? In what you have seen as it relates to kind of these drones, and you mentioned China, et cetera, do you think that there's kind of a dichotomy here where some of them are obviously misreported sightings, as Kirby, et cetera, has said, and then some of them are more nefarious? Is there kind of like a split here?
Right. I mean, you have commercial drones that are, Amazon has a lot of drones, for instance. There are a lot of commercial drones in the sky, and they've worked with the FAA on, the procedures. They seem to think that most of them are American-based commercial. It's the ones over the military sites that I can't explain, and they can't either. But I can't imagine what commercial benefit it would be to operate a drone over a military base. So, look, I know it's speculation, but it's pretty good speculation to assume that's coming from an adversary. And I think the best target would be Communist China. They have the capability, and they've bought land around our military sites, and that would be my speculation.
So House Foreign Affairs Committee Chair Representative McCall believes that these things are belonging to China. I don't know. I think that right now there's a lot of speculation, like he was saying. He even said that he was speculating on some of this stuff, but hopefully we'll get some answers soon.